How's it, fellow modelers and crafters? Welcome to the Be Creative channel. My name is Brendan. In this video, I'm going to discuss briefly and then also demonstrate how you can achieve realistic metal effects using buffable metal color or paints. So what are buffable metal paints? These are paints that you are able to buff up to create a natural shine or highlights without having to use a different color. There are various brands that have manufactured buffable paints. First of all, we have Testers Model Master, and they had a series of 9 metallizer lacquer colors. I've only got the gunmetal color. Next, we have Humbrol's Metal Coat, which is a range of 4 colors comprising of aluminium, which was 27001. Then there was polished aluminium, which was 27002. Then there's polished steel, which is 27003. And lastly, gunmetal 27004. Now, I haven't used these yet. They've been sitting in the cupboard for quite some time. I have checked them this morning, and yes, they are still usable, and I will get to use them at some stage. Now, AK Interactive also have a selection of 12 colors in their true metal range. Now, I don't have any of this. The true metal range is not exactly a paint, but more a waxy type of paste that can be buffed to a very high shine. Then there's Mr. Hobby's range of Mr. Metal Color. Their range comprises of 9 colors. I've purchased 4 of these colors. 211, which is chrome silver. 212, which is iron. 213, which is stainless. And 214, which is dark iron. The other colors in their range are copper, bronze, gold, aluminium, and brass. I'm going to use these 4 metal colors to show you how easy it is to create a realistic metal look or appearance on your model or miniature. Now, it's possible that you can airbrush these onto your model and then buff them up. But for this demonstration, I'm going to be using some hairy sticks. Now, I've got 4 paintbrushes here, which I've labeled with a corresponding number of a color. And I'm going to explain the reason why a little bit later as we progress through the demo. I have 4 kit parts. 2 are unpainted, and 2 I have previously painted in flat black. So let's start with the unpainted parts. Let's just move these out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to start with the iron color. I'm going to just move these other paints out of the way quickly. So I'm going to start with iron, which is 212. So I'm going to choose the appropriate brush, number 212. I'm going to give it a good shake. Open the container. As you can see, it's a lacquer paint, so it's very watery, sort of like very fluid type. You want to put your paintbrush inside, and you want to stir it up at the bottom of your container. Okay, then you're going to sort of like remove some of the paint off. You're going to grab your part, and then you're going to start painting it on. Now, you're not doing long strokes. You're basically pasting it on, as you can see here, till it covers the part. Turn it over. So you're just basically painting it on as thick as you want or as thin as you want, doesn't really matter. That's the first one. Let's get a little bit more paint. Take some of it off. I actually want to do, I want to do the next one, which is the dark iron. So I'm going to choose the dark iron. I just want to add some more of this paint onto the top here so that it's completely covered. Once you finish painting, you just put it to one side. Now, I want to just say to you, once you have applied the color, don't clean the brush, okay? Leave the paint on the brush as it is like this. If you're saying, oh, but it'll ruin the bristles. No, not really. You will see why pretty soon. It's recommended that you use old brushes, or if you go out and purchase new brushes, make sure that they are dedicated brushes that you're going to only use for the metal color, the Mr. Metal color. Okay, so let's close this one up. I'm going to put this paintbrush one side here. I'm then going to take 214, which is the dark iron. Give it a good shake. It's preferable to use brushes that have got sort of like a firm or stiff bristles. You'll see why a little bit later. Okay, so I'm choosing paintbrush with 214 because the color number is 214. I'm going to put my paintbrush in here. I'm going to stir it around, get all that sediment off the bottom, wipe off some of it. And then, like I did with the iron, I'm going to apply the dark iron as thick or as thin as possible as you want, all over the entire part. Now you can apply this paint onto a primed surface or an unprimed surface. Really doesn't matter because it's going to do exactly the same thing. The coverage of the color of the paint is very good, so you won't need to really prime it if you don't want to. Okay, so there we have the iron and the dark iron applied. Remember, don't clean the brush. Keep the brush as it is. Let the paint dry on it. Okay. So while these two are drying, I want to tell you a little bit about Supernova Studio store that can supply you with all your hobby, crafting, and modeling and art supplies. I purchase almost all my modeling kits, model paints, tools, and other hobby supplies, and fine art supplies and airbrush paints from Supernova Studio. It's a local store here in Durban, South Africa. They are able to cater for all your modeling, hobby, crafting, and fine art requirements. Model kits, glues, tools, crafting tools, sculpting tools, airbrushes, diorama and aftermarket accessories and supplies. They are also the official importers and suppliers of the full range of Vallejo products paints and diorama accessories for modelers, Warhammer, Gundam, Gunpla, hobbyists, crafters, airbrush and fine artists. Their online store is easy to navigate. It's easy to set up a user profile or account. Very simple to place an order and complete your purchase through a secure payment portal. Online purchases will also earn you studio bucks that you can accumulate and redeem on any of your next purchases. So therefore, you are being rewarded for being a loyal customer. If you refer a friend with your unique referral code and they successfully complete a purchase, then they will receive a 60 Rand coupon. And yes, you also will receive a 60 Rand coupon that you can redeem on your next purchase. Now, add to that, you receive free homemade fudge on all purchases of 500 Rand or more. What a sweet deal, bro. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link in the description and go and visit and explore what Supernova Studio's online store has to offer for you. So these two parts have been drying for about 20 to 30 minutes now. Now you're going to take the same brush that you used to apply the color and brush it over the surface like you would with your dry brushing. So I'm going to start off with the dark iron, which was 214. I've got my brush number 214. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the part and you're going to take the paintbrush and you're going to, like your dry brushing, you're going to buff up the paint. And as you can see, the paint, the part is actually starting to get a shine to it, you know. Sorry, I'm trying to get my hands right here. And do the other side. There you see that it has a very realistic metallic look to it. If you turn it at certain angles and to catch certain light and all that, you know, you get the actual metal look of the actual part of the paint. Now the more you buff it up, the more shiny it's going to get. So when you're buffing it up, what it's doing is it's creating highlights or shines, shiny areas on raised detail, and then you get a slight metallic sheen on sort of like the flat surfaces. But then all the deep recesses, like for instance over here where the ammo belt is fed in, you can see it's still very dark over there. Also around some of the raised detail, you still got a little bit of dark effect. The holes inside the barrel are still a darker color. So there's no need to actually come back and do any weathering effects afterwards, because you've created it all using just one color and one paintbrush. Okay, I'm going to do now the iron one. So let's move this out of the way. So this is now the iron, slightly different shade. And again, you're going to use the same paintbrush, 212, and you're just going to buff it. You're just going to dry brush over it, and you can see how it's creating a metallic sheen to the flat surfaces. The raised areas are getting more of a polished look or worn look, and then all the deep recesses, they remain sort of like the original color, original darkish iron color. And there you have it. As you can see, very easy to do. Now that took me less than, well, with the drying time, you're probably looking at about 35-40 minutes just to do that. Okay, so now let's move on to the two parts that I've pre-painted with flat black. I'm going to use chrome silver and stainless steel to demonstrate this next metal effect. Okay, so I'm going to start off with chrome silver. I'm going to give it a good shake. So chrome silver, that's 211. I'm going to open the container. Let's just move this one out of the way. I'm going to do this little MG here, 35th scale MG. Open the container, 211. I'm going to dip my brush in, stir it around. I'm going to brush off as much of the excess as I can. Remember, you've got to stir it from the bottom of the pot so that you get all that sediment or pigment that's at the bottom. And you're going to get your paper towel and you're going to brush off as much of it as you can. So there I've removed quite a bit of it. Okay, and you're going to take your pot. Let's move this towel out the way. And just lightly you're going to, this is still a little bit too much. Now you see I'm brushing off I've brushed off quite a bit. There's hardly anything coming off of the paper towel. And when you then dry brush it on, just lightly stroking it, you will see that I'm getting a nice dry brushed metal look over the surface. Let's turn it around, do the other side so you can see. And as you can see, it's creating a nice metallic appearance. Just light dry brushing over the surface. Like in the previous, when I did the iron and the dark iron, all the raised areas are getting more of the color, and the recessed areas are of course staying the original black color. The flat areas are getting a slightly metallic sheen to it. And there you have the chrome silver just lightly dry brushed onto the surface. Now you can, if you want, you can paint the entire thing with the chrome silver, let it dry, and again also dry brush it off, and all the highlighted areas will actually be a brighter shade of the chrome silver than the rest of it. So you'll have different tones, or sort of like a natural weathered metallic effect going through. Okay, so I'm going to put this one side. I'm now going to get out the stainless steel one. Now, stainless is number 213. I'm going to give it a good shake. We get our brush for 213. Give it a good shake. Put the hairy part of the stick inside the container. You're going to stir it up, getting as much of that sediment off the bottom as possible onto the actual bristles. And then you're going to wipe off as much of the excess as you can. And then again, you're going to remove it onto the paper towel, like you would if you were dry brushing. As you can see there's very little on the paintbrush itself. Let's move that out the way. Let's close the container. I'm going to take the part. Now I'm just going to do this section here. Just lightly, you're going to brush over the surface. And you can see that the entire surface is getting a metallic sheen. But the raised areas, or the raised detail, is obviously getting more of the metallic paint, and therefore creating sort of more of a worn metallic look. If you do it on the edges, and I'm just lightly brushing over, and there you can see you have a very subtle metallic sheen over the entire black surface. But then the highlight, the raised areas, the metal colors creating sort of highlights and creating more of a worn metallic look to it. Okay, so that's how easy it is to use these metal colors, Mr. Metal Color, as for dry brushing effect. Now, if you recall, I said to you that you mustn't clean your brushes. And I'm now going to explain to you and actually show you why it is that you shouldn't actually clean your brushes. I'm going to take number 212. Let's just close this container first. Now 212 was the iron. Okay, I've got my brush. I haven't cleaned it. It's still the same paint on here. All right. Now what I'm going to do is these raised areas here, I'm going to use that paintbrush. I haven't put any more paint on it. It's still the same amount of paint on here. And I'm going to just brush over the surface. And as you can see, the raised areas are getting more of a metallic sheen, more of a metallic shine, and the flat surface areas are getting a subtle metallic sheen to it. Let's do here, do some of the edges, and you can see very nicely how on the edges how it actually creates that metallic look. Now to me this is like probably the most realistic looking metal effect that I've seen in a long time. And yeah, you guys should really go out, get this paint, and give it a go. This will be excellent for like if you have engines, you know, aircraft engines, tank engines, car engines, aircraft engines, you know, anything that has a metallic surface or is made of metal, you can basically paint it the color and then come with your paintbrush and just buff it, and you get that effect where the raised details or the raised areas, you get more of a shine, and then the flat areas you get sort of like a very realistic metallic sheen to it. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but to me, when I'm looking at it now, it really looks like it's actually made of metal, you know. Very good for when you want to use it on engines, you know, especially radial engines and everything. Guys that do miniatures, your swords, your weapons, even some of your chainmail, armor and all that stuff. You can use this paint. You paint it on, let it dry, come back with your paint, with the same paintbrush, just dust it over, and you get a nice realistic metallic sheen. So there you have it, folks. Creating a realistic worn or used metallic appearance has never been easier. Now I should mention that I didn't discover this as I first saw it on Flooring Models YouTube channel. And I figured, well, you know what, let's give it a try, see how good it really is. Well, I want to thank you, Phil. You've definitely shown me a game changer. I mean, just look at that metallic look. As I said, I don't know how well the camera is picking it up, but when I look at it like this, you're actually getting a realistic metallic sheen of the entire surface. Same with this one here, where we did it over the black. We just dry brushed it over the black. The flat surfaces have sort of like a subtle metallic sheen, and the raised areas or raised detail have got more of a shiny look to it. So in closing, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. It would be appreciated if you give the video a thumbs up, write a comment, and please share it with your friends, fellow modelers and other hobby enthusiasts, so that they can also benefit from this video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on new content and interesting videos. Like, for instance, part 4 of the Edwards 1:48 scale Mirage 3C step-by-step video build, which will be coming to my YouTube channel very, very soon. So don't miss it. So to close off, I want to remind you to be inspired, be imaginative, and most importantly, be creative. Cheers for now.